how much free speech do we really have on the internet? I thought that we had hit the pinnacle of censorship online when it came to election integrity, discussions about social justice and race issues, discussions about vaccines and COVID. And I thought the height of that was behind us. And if you don't count LinkedIn, the one social media site that I am a part of, the founder of that organization says that he predicts that censorship is going to be on the rise in 2026. I don't 100% know where he's getting his data, but I have a feeling that this video I'm about to share with you has something to do with it. Let's take a look.
I would now like to welcome to the stage Liora Rez, founder and executive director of Stop Antisemitism, a watchdog organization that publicly exposes anti-Semitic behavior, creating consequences for those who espouse bigotry toward the Jewish people. Liora?
Tonight, I speak not just about a problem, but an actual fight. A fight that the Jewish community did not choose, but one that we are now fully engaged in, confronting the global explosion of Jew hatred, unleashed since the attacks of 10/7. Stop Antisemitism was built for this. For years, we exposed hate, pressured institutions, and delivered consequences. But after 10/7, the scale of threat and the urgency of our mission changed dramatically overnight. Since that day, we have featured more than 1,000 anti-Semites on our platforms. 1,000. Not theorized about them, not quietly documented them, featured them publicly, clearly, and with evidence. The results speak for themselves. Approximately 400 of these Jew haters have faced real consequences, including firings, suspensions, and expulsions. More than 300 of them remain in an active investigatory state across universities, corporations, DEI departments, unions, hospitals, nonprofits, and yes, unfortunately, federal government agencies. And yes, 5 arrests to date tied directly to threats and violence of anti-Semitic conduct we helped expose. This is what accountability looks like. This is what action looks like. This is what pushing back hard looks like against the tidal wave of hate that has consumed the United States and global population. From our founding, Stop Antisemitism has operated on one guiding belief. Anti-Semitism thrives when there are no consequences. So we created consequences, a lot of them. We created visibility. We turned the spotlight towards those who targeted on our community, making silence impossible. On campuses where Jewish students were hunted through libraries, where professors glorified Hamas and Hezbollah terrorists, where mobs shut down our buildings and administrators hid under desks, we stepped in. We documented the offenders, we worked with attorneys, lawmakers, and victim families, and we ensured the message was not mistakable. If you target Jewish students, your actions will not disappear into the darkness. We will shine a light on you that, thanks to Google and SEO, will follow you for the rest of your life.
Okay, now that's what gets me as somebody who's in tech. They're going to use technology to bully people based on what they describe as anti-Semitism. As someone who's brown, black, brown in this nation, I know the game that's being played because I've seen it when it comes to black people, when it comes to race. And I've heard people, the goalposts of what constitutes racism, they just keep moving. So much so that it got to the ridiculous where I would hear things said like, if you expect a black person to speak with standard English, that's considered a supremacist point of view. expecting people to be good at math is a white supremacist point of view, which makes me want to scream because in high school, I was the best person in math in my class. I was the only black person. Everybody else was white. And I won awards in calculus and advanced math and trig, those classes that I took. So clearly, I didn't think that I was inferior when it came to that. I gravitated towards math and things like spelling because I could prove it. If I spelled the word right, the teacher, it didn't matter what they thought about me. They could be racist. I don't think any of them were, but they could be. And they still have to give me the points if I spell the word right. If I got the math problem right and I showed my work, they had to give me the points. But today, we're getting to the point where racism is just anything that the black person you're talking to doesn't like. They can consider that to be racist. And I see the same thing being played here, that anti-Semitism is whatever the Jewish person or group that is evaluating you doesn't like that you said or did. And that's dangerous. And they're going to use tech and their connections in tech to influence Google and search engine optimization to make it so that this stuff follows you whenever anyone looks up your name. They can platform you, like he says, profile you, have it out there that you're a Jew hater, and it can affect your ability to she hasn't talked about this yet, but I think she talks about it affecting your dating life, who you marry, who might want to hire you or not hire you, obviously who wants to bank with you or not bank with you. This is hardcore. And they have, in multiple states now, I believe over 24 states, anti-Semitism hate crime laws. She also mentioned policies on universities. I fully believe, as someone who reads the Constitution every year, that these laws and these policies are unconstitutional. I don't see how you square that with the First Amendment at all. But who's really going to take that all the way to the Supreme Court? Who wants that smoke to go up against a group like this that has these connections already codified in law, in policy? Who wants to go up against it? Let's continue.
When you look for a job, when you look for a spouse, when you look for a nanny, when you look for anything, our work will always be documented, again, thanks to Google and SEO. In corporations where DEI leaders smeared Israel, excused Hamas, we pressured CEOs, some resigned, many were terminated, but policies were changed, thankfully, from governmental to art institutions. Online, where anonymous accounts spread violent threats, we traced patterns, elevated evidence, and worked with authorities, leading to arrests from Florida, South Carolina, New York, California, and Texas. And we're not slowing down, sadly. Today, Stop Antisemitism, I'm proud to say, runs one of the most robust anti-Semitic enforcement operations in the United States, monitoring campuses, digital networks, activist groups, and public officials, documenting incidents in real time and mobilizing millions of people, of allies that are quietly by our side. But the fight is bigger than the exposure, and it's about securing a future.
Quietly by their side. So I just happened to watch this movie last night where it was called The Guard. It had Don Cheadle in it. He was one of the executive producers. But I believe an Irishman he was working with realized that he couldn't trust anybody else in the police department. They were all on the take. And he himself received a bribe. And he decided to go up against the bribe and deal with these drug dealers directly, recognizing he would always have to look over his back after the fact. Well, she just said the same thing, similar thing, silently. Who's silently on their side? Anyway, let's continue.
A future where Jewish students can walk across a quad without being screamed at. A future where employers understand that anti-Semitism is not activism. It's bigotry, and it will cause you to lose your job. A future where fact, not propaganda, shapes policy. A future where global institutions, from Google to Chat, GPT, from governments to universities to media, finally treats Jew hatred with the seriousness of other minority-targeted hate.
Finally, I think they have had equal footing, if not greater, with other minority groups like when it comes to race, when it comes to sexual preference. I think they've had equal footing. So to make it sound this woe is me thing, just as it was with blacks, as it comes to race, I don't think you can force somebody to like you. We as black people can't. I think it's the wrong approach to try to force other people to like us. If we can just be likable, then I think you win more folks. You're forcing people to like you. I think that just breeds more contempt and antipathy, or at the least, apathy, especially while you have so many people dealing with affordability issues themselves. They're thinking about transportation and how the cost of that is so high. Insurance, health, and home insurance. They want to be able to afford a house. They want employment. And when they're dealing with all these things on their own plate, the last thing they want to hear about is you crying about your victimhood. Again, I'm speaking from the perspective of someone who's black and brown myself, who understands this minority point of view. And I see it here. Just look at all this stuff that's at the bottom of the screen, all these different organizations. And they're coming right out and telling you that they have these alliances, some of them secret, some of them quiet. But if you said that they had a certain level of power to implement this kind of pain that they want to inflict on whoever they perceive to be a Jew hater, then you'd be accused of propagating some anti-Jewish trope that has been around for decades. But they're coming right out and saying this. We're going to make your life terrible. You're going to find it hard to get a job. People might want to debank you. It's going to affect your dating life. If we perceive that you're hating on Jews. But they're coming out and saying they're going to use technology and search engine optimization. So whenever anyone searches up your name, they're going to find this messaging that we have about you, this narrative that we have about you. And it could be on something as flimsy as whatever you said, something we don't like. So now we're going to put you in the category of people who hate everybody who we associate as being part of our group. She's saying, finally, we're coming around to this. It's been around for centuries? Definitely decades, but centuries. Martin Luther even wrote about this. Martin Luther, back in, late 1400s, early 1500s. So this has been around for centuries.
To get there, we need three things: action, real action, as I listed, accountability, relentless vigilance, because anti-Semitism does not take breaks. It doesn't wait for elections. It doesn't disappear because we are exhausted and tired. And when I tell you myself and my team are exhausted and tired, that's the least of it. Stop Antisemitism has never been more essential, more strategic, or more effective than it is now. But we cannot do this alone. The demand, the volume of tips, the number of investigations, sadly, it continues to grow instead of decrease. If we want a safer future for the Jewish people, this is the moment to stand together and act. We have to push harder to make it clear that Jewish safety is a non-negotiable. Tonight, I'm asking you to always be in the fight with us, not just in spirit, but in true action. Participate in calls to action. Write letters to your governmental officials. Speak to the teachers and the college administrators that are making, if it's not your friends and kids, it's making other community members feel unsafe. When we act, lives change. And anti-Semites learn, sometimes for the very first time in their lives and history, that targeting Jews will come at a price. And together we can ensure that Jew hatred never goes unanswered again.
I don't know how much people are targeting Jews in this nation. It seemed that Christians were ones getting killed across the world. That people want to drive their cars into a group of people at a Christmas bazaar or a festival. It's this kind of paranoia that I've seen with blacks when it comes to police officers. Like, you have to worry so much about the police killing an innocent black person when you really have to worry more about the other black youth, particularly gang member, killing you. You have to worry more about the black on black crime than you do about the police officer, the white police officer on black crime. I put those in the similar categories. I just don't see this large outlay of folks wanting to physically harm Jews. There's some people who might want to talk about some things that they have a difference of opinion, but I don't think that they want to hear differences of opinion either. I don't think they want to have a whole lot of talk, because they want to take away your ability to talk, take away your ability to give your side of the story. Let's just use our connections with Google and search engine optimization to make this person's life digitally a problem forever.
As a former refugee from the USSR, I say this with all of my heart. God bless the United States. God bless Israel, and Am Israel Chai. Thank you so much.
Well, that's part of what I wanted to say, but one last thing I want to point out. Did you know that in the Trump presidency, there is an anti-Semitism czar? I didn't know that. Trump's pick for anti-Semitism czar plans to work with social media to suppress, quote, hatred. Again, how do you define that? When I first heard about hate crime laws, it must have been in the late 2000s, early 2010s, and I was flabbergasted. I'm like, stop it. Crime is crime. I don't think you should increase the punishment just because the victim of the crime happens to be part of some protected class. But that's where we're at, and I see this as a problem. You can't force somebody to like you. If they don't like you and you start to implement policies or influence to make it painful for them to not like you, like me or I'm going to cause you pain. But again, who's going to want to take on this organization we just saw? Who's going to want to take on the anti-Semitism czar and take these policies and these laws that are created at the state level? And I believe in multiple states, I believe over 24 states now, have these anti-Semitism hate crime laws on the books. Who's going to want to fight that fight all the way to the Supreme Court? Who's going to want to spend that money and watch themselves get damaged in the process? Watch themselves get profiled as a hater themselves. I think this is a dark alley that we're going down, and maybe this has something to do with why the founder of that social media site that I'm a member of, why he sees censorship going up here soon in 2026. And I know YouTube is owned by Google and Alphabet, whatever this group plans on doing with Google and search engine optimization, and that anti-Semitism czar plans on doing with social media. I'll bet some of it's going to find its way to YouTube as well. If you start to notice things picking up in that area, when we thought this was behind us, just don't be surprised. Later.